Welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports, continuing coverage of Super Bowl 59, live from Radio Row here at the New Orleans Convention Center. And we're pleased to be joined now by Fox personality Mark Schlereth, and of course, big man from the Denver Broncos on that offensive line as well. Mark, good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, man. Great to be with you.
All right, so excited for the game. What's sort of your outlook for this on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I'm a former Denver Bronco, so I hate the Chiefs with the White House 1,000 sons. So I have a lot of respect for them. I think from the neck up, I think they're the smartest football team on the planet. And they just do such a great job with execution, situational football, all those different things. Now, that said, I think Philadelphia is a more talented team from across the board. I think, if you go position by position, I think offensive line more talented. I think their running back situation is more talented. I think their receiving core is more talented. I do give the nod to Mahomes, and I give it to Andy Reid as well. But I think, when you start breaking it down even defensively, D-line is close to being a wash. Linebacker, secondary, I think I would give to Philadelphia. But the bottom line is Kansas City is such a good team.
Right.
They execute so well, especially in critical moments. I think they're the best critical moment team in football.
And we saw that a lot this last year. So many games, including that Broncos game with that field goal that could have gone the other team's way, and the Chiefs somehow able to pull that up.
Yeah, they do. And they just, you watch them, they are so detailed in everything they do. And it just shows. The other thing that they have going for them is they've had the same coaching staff, right? So it's the same coaches presenting the same stuff, coaching the same things, but they continue to build on it, right? So they continue to have answers. And so a lot of times you don't have answers because you haven't been through it. Mm-hmm. You put a new system in offensively or defensively, and this is what we're going to do. And then all of a sudden somebody gets you on something. You're like, oh, we got to build an answer for that, right? Well, they've been together for so long. They have all those answers. Mm-hmm. And that's what sets them apart. So there's almost nothing that you can come up with that they haven't seen a time or two.
Let's talk about potential 18th game. That seems to be a big topic of conversation here. Roger Goodell saying at his press conference the other day that obviously they're looking at it, but they got to get this approved by the union. But a lot of people forget that when the union ratified this deal a few years ago to add the 17th game, it was really close to get that 17th game. And a lot of players I talked to don't seem that interested in this 18th game. What do you think? Obviously, from a Fox broadcast perspective, that extra game is going to be good for you guys and for the fans. But from a player's perspective, do you think they're going to go for it?
Well, I mean, it seems to me that, and I know I've been part of the union and we always get to the point where we just roll over, but it's just a lot. I mean, there's a lot of games, and there does come, that point of diminishing returns and injury issues and all the things that have gone on. And, I always feel like we negotiate the wrong things as a union. Like, we negotiate contact out of a contact sport. We negotiate practice out of a sport where you have to practice to be good at it. Mm-hmm. Like, we negotiate all these things, and that's what we give up. And I think from a league standpoint, why wouldn't they?
Right.
They go, why not? Okay,
right.
All you guys want is less practice time? Okay, that's good with us.
Right.
And then the commissioner comes up to me, or people come up to me and go, what are we going to do about all these quarterback injuries?
Right.
Well, you know what you're going to need to do is start to practice, right? You got to develop players. Players have to work. They've got to do these things. So, you can't have your cake and eat it too. But that's exactly what they want. So if you're going to fold or you're going to roll over eventually, let's roll over, but let's get something that's actually tangible and good, all right? Let's get lifetime health care. Let's get some things that actually benefit the players. Unfortunately, as players, we're so short-sighted, right? Because our average career lasts 3.2 years, and it hasn't changed in 50 years.
Yep.
And so we're so short-sighted that we want ours now. So if you give us a couple extra dollars or a couple extra days off, we're like, yes, we'll take it. And it's just, we're not negotiating for the right things. And hopefully our Players Association and the guys leading that Players Association, if they're going to acquiesce and they're going to give up that game and they're going to get more money, they need some tangible things on the backside, as opposed to let's just keep squeezing our own, let's keep squeezing professionals out of professional football. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I could go on forever about the mistakes we have made as a union when it comes to this stuff.
I know you and I both have soft spots in our hearts for the Denver Broncos. I talked to a little while ago, Damani Leach, the president of the Denver Broncos, just a little while ago. And obviously the topic of conversation there, will the Broncos get a new stadium? and which would allow, if let's just say a retractable roof, the Denver to have a thing like the Super Bowl as well. What are your thoughts on that? I know obviously Mile High, it's a special place for all of us, but do you think the Broncos need a new stadium?
Yeah, I think the way it's going, they're going to put a new stadium in here eventually with that new ownership, and I think it'll be great. And I'm 100% with you. Like, Denver is it's such an unbelievable city. Like, I was talking to my wife yesterday. It was 62 degrees in Denver.
I know, it's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy.
So you get to the point where I don't think people really understand how great the weather is there. Because the only time you ever see it is when we get that snowstorm in September.
Right. Yes.
And then
a
day later, they don't cover it and it's 82 degrees out again, right?
Well, if you don't like the weather in Colorado, wait 5 minutes.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. So, but I would love to see it, because if you had it, then it's Final Fours and it's
exactly
it's the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You get into that rotation and it's concerts and it's all kinds of great things.
Yes.
So I would love to see that happen.
And of course, we've seen with the Adelsons buying the Mavs, now the ownership groups, it's more real estate, it's more experiential and all of that. So I think you're 100% spot on that a new stadium adds so much more to what Denver can provide the sports world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen that as you travel around, as I call games on Sundays, you see these, essentially they become towns.
Yeah.
It's the stadium and it's everything around and the hotels and the infrastructure. And like you said, that's experiential kind of opportunity for fan bases to come and to spend that whole time there. And yeah, I walk around the NFL, it just blows me away. Like, you go to New England now. When I played in New England,
it was way different.
Tulane, and you're at Foxborough Stadium. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole city.
Right, exactly. And then you see what Minnesota was able to create, and they got a Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
So it's you can make it happen in cold weather places, so that way you're not just getting the same cities in the same rotation for the Super Bowl all the time. Also on the Broncos beat, you got to get excited about what we saw with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. What was sort of your, review of the last season, and where do you sort of see the Broncos going as the next season approaches?
I think the Broncos are building something special, and I think Bo Nix is a special player. And to watch the success he had as a rookie, and not only to watch the success overall that he had, but to watch his growth from week to week to week as he continued to play well. It was really exciting. They've got to get a couple of dynamic weapons on that offensive side. They've got to cure the issues in their running game. But you look at what they were able to accomplish, and
with a dead cap hit that was the biggest in NFL history.
Right. Well, that whole cap thing to me is a bunch of garbage anyway. That's fungible. You can manipulate it, move around. You can do whatever you want with that. So when people are always like, oh, we're up against a cap, or oh, we got a huge cap hit, and people get all nervous about that, I'm always like, that's funny. It's like Monopoly money.
Right.
It doesn't really count. So. When teams go, hey, you know what, we're up against a camp, we can't sign this guy, it really means we don't want the guy.
Right.
Because if you want the guy, you'll find the money to get him signed. You'll move the money around to get that done. So that's always one of those things where I look at organizations when they claim cap poverty, I'm like, that team doesn't want to spend their money.
Yeah.
Because you can make it happen.
Mark, we'll get you out of here on this. I mean, you have a very, very busy career. Obviously, getting up early in New York to be on Fox Sports. I think you still do Denver radio, too.
Yes, I do.
And then you do the Fox broadcasts on Sunday as well. So when do you got time to sleep?
I make time to sleep. Sleep is important. But, when I'm up, I am up and I am grinding. Yeah. So I've got, obviously, Breakfast Ball on FS1, 8 to 10 Eastern. I've got my radio show in Denver from 10 to 12 Eastern. I do my podcast, The Stinking Truth, as well. So you can find me there, YouTube and everywhere else. And then the games on Sundays. So yeah, it's during the football season, it's a busy schedule, no question about it. And once the off season hits, I'll have a little bit more time to relax.
Yes, I was going to say after Sunday, things get a little bit easier for Mark Schlereth.
Slows down a little bit. But now I'm in college baseball. My son coaches at South Florida, the FSU.
The Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls. The Bulls. How do you? Yeah, SFU?
I know. I think it's USF.
USF. That's what it is. University of South Florida. Thank you. I'm sorry. But the Bulls. So he's a pitching coach. Go Bulls. Wait a minute.
Yes.
My fingers don't necessarily. Okay, my fingers don't really work.
Yeah, I forget you're a big baseball fan too,
Huge
man.
baseball fan.
I know.
So baseball season starts next weekend, and I will be I will be at USF. I will be at the Bulls game cheering on the Bulls. So
Yes.
I'm excited about it.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us here on Radio Realm. We got more incredible content and interviews coming your way with Front Office Sports.